Hey, what's up, guys? This is AJ from the Comeback Sports Podcast, and this is Season 4, Episode 1. We got a jam-packed filled episode as usual. We'll be talking about the College Football Playoff Championship last night, the NFC North, NFL playoff predictions, my pick for the MVP, Chicago Bulls, Lebron, The Bachelor, and a little bit more, so stick around. Now for your quote of the week. Lie become truth only if person want to believe it. What does that quote mean to me? To me, it's more like you can't let people get to you if they try to spread lies about you. I mean, to a degree, this applies. If someone, example, if you're a football player and someone's saying you can't catch or you're not a good quarterback, if you let it get to you, then to that person or to those people, will make them think that you truly do believe that, even though you say you don't. Because if you really have that confidence, you wouldn't let that get to you because you know internally that you are this good player, or that this lie is definitely a lie. I mean, to show your truth, I think action speaks louder. Wow. Welcome back, guys. It's been a nice little break. Usually my breaks are about a month after I'm done with the season. This was a little longer. I think it was about 5 weeks, so about a month and a week. But it's good to be back. I had a pretty good Thanksgiving and a pretty good Christmas. Hope everyone stayed safe during the holidays, being Christmas and the New Year, because COVID's definitely on the rise these days. Definitely want to make sure people are staying safe because we we definitely don't want to go into another lockdown, which I don't think may happen, but we will see. And work has always been busy. It stays busy, which can be a good thing. I graduated PT school. I'm not going to school to be PT. I mean, I was on a PT program. So I'm graduated from my program. So I'm pretty much close to running back to where I was before I got injured. But I'm just taking it day by day, working my strength and my endurance up. But I'm just glad to be back to running. Hopefully by spring I can start racing. Let's kind of transition over to the topics that I mentioned, starting with the college football championships. So yesterday on Monday, the 10th, the Alabama Crimson Tide played the Georgia Bulldogs for the college football national championship title. Coming into this game, I honestly thought Alabama would just beat them again, just like they did in the SEC championship. It was a pretty good game. I was quite surprised. The beginning of the game was a little slow for me. At halftime, Georgia had 6 points. Alabama had 9. It was just more of a defensive battle, and they weren't letting any big plays get away. It was a little boring, I'll admit. But some people, that's what they love to see. They like to see these defensive battles where every yard matters to the team. And then, for those who watch the game, you definitely know in the last half, things definitely started to speed up, which I expected because defenses, even elite defenses, they will start to get a little tired towards the end of the game. You don't see very often where there's a complete shutout or the flow of the defense stays consistent. There are sometimes, but this game is a little different because Alabama and Georgia are both elite programs. In the third quarter, Georgia scored the first touchdown of the game. Alabama responded, and then as we got into the fourth quarter, things started to take a dip. Georgia scored 20 points in the fourth quarter, while Alabama only scored 9. And the finishing blow of the game was the end of the game pick 6 that was caught. The quarterback for Alabama was Bryce Young. He had 369 yards off of 57 attempts, which included 1 touchdown and the 2 interceptions, one of the interceptions being the pick 6. But to me, the hero, or pretty much the star of this little story, is Stetson Bennett, the quarterback for Georgia. For those who don't know who Stetson Bennett is, he has been with Georgia for so many years. He was a true freshman that walked on to Georgia and had to be the backup. The following year, he went to play at a community college, but still found his way back to Georgia to still be a backup. Kept him being a backup to people like Justin Fields, JT Daniels, Jake Fromm, but he still stayed, and he waited. He kept waiting and waiting. And then it was his final year, and he got the starting role, and he led Georgia to be the number 3 team in the country all the way to an SEC title game, even though they lost, but all the way to the college football playoffs, beat Michigan with 3 TDs, and beat Alabama. He outplayed Bryce Young. Bryce Young was the number 1 quarterback in his high school class. Number 1 everything. Top of the list. Stetson Bennett was just a walk-on when he went to college. Bryce Young was also the Heisman. Led the I didn't know. I think he got second in total TDs, but he just looked unstoppable. He was the Heisman favorite since week 1, in my opinion. Stetson Bennett wasn't scared. He definitely, actually, you know what? He was a little scared. First half, he was just getting clobbered. Alabama was just way too much for him. Sack after sack. It just wasn't looking pretty. And then that's when I started to realize that, yeah, he's definitely not getting much. If it comes down to a shootout, Bryce Young will beat him. However, last half, he stepped up and he threw those 2 TDs that we mentioned. I mean, it's hard because you got to go against people like Will Anderson Jr., who's a monster. Another one would probably have to be Christian Harris. He had 3 sacks that game. It's probably very overwhelming for him, but he had his team on his back. He had his team with him, and he was able to push through. Thanks to Zamir White, who got a rushing TD, and George Pickens, who really changed the momentum of the game with the 52-yard pass in the third quarter. It was a great game to watch. I think what really just determined it was the secondary. Georgia's secondary was just not allowing Alabama to get an inch of free space. And if they did get some space, the receivers just weren't there. I believe one of Alabama's top receivers was out for that game. So that definitely hurt Bryce Young when it came to kind of throwing it deep. And then of course, the pressures, because you got, as I mentioned, Will Anderson Jr. was attacking Stetson. And then from Georgia, you have Channing Tindall, who had a sack, Nolan Smith, who also got a sack, Robert Beal Jr. Jordan Davis is someone that I really think will be one of the top picks in the draft. He's just unstoppable. But it was a great game. I was really surprised how the second half ended. What does this mean for next year? Probably the same thing. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. They're probably going to be in the top 3 in the preseason favorite. And it'll be the same thing. We'll watch them play. And then when it comes to the end of the season, things start to change a little bit. But I'm excited. It was a great game, and I'm excited to see what's in for next season. So let's talk about the NFL now. I want to talk about the NFC North. Since I live in Chicago, I'm surrounded by NFC North news. I work with a lot of Bears fans. My boss is a Vikings fan. My buddy's a Vikings fan. I'm a Packers fan. I have a buddy who's a Lions fan. It's nice. It's nice to kind of be surrounded by all these fans, even in Chicago. In news at NFC North, there was a lot of firings on Black Monday. The season ended, and the Bears fired not only the head coach Matt Nagy, but their GM Ryan Pace. Before that even happened, the Minnesota Vikings fired their head coach Mike Zimmer. Of course, no one from the Packers got fired. Matt LaFleur is doing an outstanding job. He's had 13-3 back-to-back seasons, so he's doing fine. Well, one thing I'm glad I haven't heard was Dan Campbell not getting fired. What do you mean? The Lions really stink. They only got 2-3 wins. You're right. They did. But I really like Dan Campbell because he makes it work with what he has. And I also like him because he's a player kind of coach. He's always up there for his players. He's not afraid to show emotion for his He's not afraid to show emotion towards his players either. Like, I've seen him cry a couple times in news conferences. Some people joke that he's crying because he might lose his job. But I think one more year, he's probably – I want to say they might double their wins next year. I think there's a chance they might more than double. But I like Dan Campbell's attitude. He's a good people person, and I think he could be very valuable for next year. What does this mean? What does this tell me about the NFC North? The NFC North is probably gonna have some changes. I mean, I think the Bears might have the largest change because not only head coach got fired, but GM. So whoever the GM is or the head coach, the rumor has it that Brian Flores is a top option. I like him. He just got fired from Miami. But the GM is going to be an interesting one because to me, the GM is kind of more responsible for who they pick in the draft. Maybe they might get a GM that's going to just get some really valuable pieces. But again, I'm not sure who's going to be that person. I'm not too familiar with who they're interviewing, but I think it's going to be better than Ryan Pace. So let's talk about the playoffs, the NFL playoffs. As some of you know, Week 18 was a really exciting week for football. And if the NFC West has three teams in the playoffs that include, let's see, 1 second. That includes the Rams, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. The NFC East has the Cowboys and the Eagles. You got the Buccaneers that are in there. You have the Packers, of course, who are on the bye weeks at the number 1 seed. And then on the AFC side of things, you have the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Bills, the Patriots, Raiders, and Bengals. It's going to be exciting. I like to watch wildcard games because I think there's more at stake because some of these teams, like, they still need to prove that they belong because they probably made the wildcard game because someone lost, a.k.a. the Chargers. So I think there's a little more heart in the wildcard game. So let's kind of look at the matchups here. Look at the Saturday ones. I got Raiders versus the Bengals. Raiders are they're indeed a wild card kind of team. They're kind of not very consistent, and the Bengals have definitely caught their stride. Joe Burrow is definitely their guy. He's the QB of the future of the Bengals. I've heard jokes that Joe Burrow is what Browns thought Baker Mayfield was going to be. Top elite quarterback with swag. Unfortunately, Baker is not the elite kind of guy. I think he has a little swag. I don't know. But Joe Burrow, he's a leader on the field, and when he throws the ball, he gets things done, especially with his former teammate Jamar Chase at LSU. Jamar Chase is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, no doubt about it. The Raiders, I like Derek Carr. He had a very strong start to the season. Kind of fell off a little bit towards the end, but obviously not that bad if he made it to the playoffs. If I want to predict, you know what? I saw a tweet or a meme saying that the Bengals, okay, here's the meme. No one in the history of the world has ever text messaged someone saying the Bengals won a playoff game. Here's why. The last time the Bengals won a playoff game was in 1991. Text messaging wasn't invented until 1992. So you might see some text messages of the Bengals winning a playoff game because I want to go with the Bengals for this one. The next wild card game on Saturday is the Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. I like this. The Patriots and the Bills are even in terms of their series. I predicted that the Patriots were going to ruin the Bills' chance to get in the playoffs, but the Bills had one game on them, so they definitely dodged that bullet. I'm not sure who's going to win. I like both teams. They both have their pros. They both have their cons. I don't like to bet against Bill Belichick in the playoffs because his defense does not allow a lot of points. I think on average it's about a little over 7 points a half. Because it's Bill Belichick and Mac Jones is looking like a stud. He's finally got his confidence and growing in pretty well to the league. I'm going to say the Patriots are going to beat the Bills in this one. No, nothing against Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, any of those guys, but I have more faith in Coach Belichick. Then Sunday, the first game, this one's a pretty easy one. The Eagles will play the Buccaneers. It's Tom Brady. He's going to win this game. Don't be surprised if he does. The Eagles, in my opinion, I like Jalen Hurts. He's very dynamic. He has a little accuracy issues, but I've seen him make some good throws, and he's good with his legs. He's an asset to the Eagles, and I hope they keep him a little bit longer before making any moves at the quarterback position. That's the same goes to Devonta Smith. He's a little guy, but he's good with his feet, and I think he can be valuable as well. The problem with me with the Eagles is their coach. I understand he's a first-year coach, but I just don't see much confidence flowing through him. And Tom Brady is used to the playoffs. They were in the playoffs last year. They won the Super Bowl. The concerns with the Buccaneers is Tom Brady doesn't have as many offensive weapons as he probably wants. However, depending how Gronk's doing, if he's going to be fully healthy, he's obviously going to make some big plays for the Bucs. You also got Mike Evans, who I think is the best receiver of the Buccaneers. I've been a fan since Texas A&M. He made Johnny Manziel look like a stud. He's a freak of nature. He's tall. He's big. So I think Mike Evans will have a good game. I think on Sunday. Leonard Fournette, I'm not sure. I think he might be injured for the playoffs. So I'm not sure how the run game is going to be. I have to double check because but I'm not 100% sure. I think it's clear to me the Buccaneers are going to win this game. Then the next wildcard game will be the 49ers versus the Cowboys. This one's interesting. Cowboys are on fire. They destroyed the NFC East. Just decimated everybody. The defense looks legit. The offense is starting to look more legit than it was earlier in the season. This isn't Dak Prescott's first playoff appearance. He's been in the playoffs as a rookie, and I think one or two more times after that. But I don't like to bet against Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a very young, smart head coach. I like Deebo Samuel. As much as I don't like Hawkeyes, I can't dismiss that George Kittle is an elite tight end, probably top 3 easily in the league. I like Trent Williams. Maybe I might see Trey Lance. I doubt it. This is the playoffs. I don't think Trey Lance is going to make an appearance. But I don't really trust Jimmy Garoppolo either. I think he's better than Trey Lance right now, but Trey Lance's ceiling is much higher. I don't know. I think this one is probably the hardest game for me to predict because I see a lot of pros and cons between both teams. I'm going to go with the 49ers. No offense to Cowboy fans, but I think 49ers will have this one. Just because Mike McCarthy was the coach of the Packers, and I didn't really like him as a head coach. I think he's a little stale. Maybe it was just the culture, the fit, the plays that the offense ran. But I have better faith in Kyle Shanahan than Mike McCarthy. Okay, let's go over to the Steelers versus Chiefs. Easy, Chiefs. I'm not going to ask any more questions. Steelers shouldn't be in this. They got lucky due to some losses in Week 18. Patrick Mahomes is going to do what he does. It's probably going to be Chiefs are going to catch up, and Patrick Mahomes just finishes the job at the last quarter. Doesn't surprise me. Big Ben, it'd probably be his last game as a football player. I don't expect him to be anything sensational. I just hope he's a good time. Big Ben has had a long career. I question some of the things he did off the field, but in terms of on the field, he definitely liked to play. So I hope he has a good game, but I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. And then my favorite matchup, or at least second favorite matchup, will be Cardinals versus the Rams. Looks like my camera just died, so I don't have to worry about looking at the camera as much now. But anyway, let's carry on. Cardinals versus the Rams. I like both teams. I work with people in Arizona, so I hear a little bit of Cardinals talk. I like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is going to be is a stud in the NFL, and hope he stays that way for the remainder of his career. Matt Stafford was my preseason MVP pick. He kind of slowed down a little bit on the last stretch of the season, but he still got the job done to get them to the playoffs. I mean, he's with a great coach, surrounded by great defensive pieces. Cardinals also have some great pieces as well. Budda Baker's good. DeAndre Hopkins. I like James Conner, and I like Chase Edmonds. They're decent running backs. If I want to guess who's going to win this game, I'm going to say the Rams will pull through. I don't see them losing in the wild card round just because I see a little bit more consistency with the Rams. Cardinals started really strong, and they're kind of been a little bit of a slump this last stretch of the season. So those are my predictions for the wild card round. I think by the next time I record, I think the playoffs might be over. If not, I'll definitely talk about the playoffs, or at least talk about my post reaction to the playoffs. If I'm going to go off a whim, I'm going to say the Super Bowl will be between. I'm going to go with the Chiefs versus the Packers. I just don't see Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers losing to Tom Brady twice in a row. I think there's going to be a little bit more heart. Aaron Rodgers played a lot more efficient than Tom Brady last time around, but Tom Brady played a little better. But we'll talk about that later. Let's kind of transition over to the next thing, which is probably my favorite topic for the day, and it is the NFL MVP prediction. And so I'll talk about who will win it based on what I'm seeing with Vegas odds, what the people are talking about, and then who I think should win it. So let me open up Vegas odds real quick. So this is updated on January 9th. And at the moment, it is minus 500 for Aaron Rodgers, followed by Tom Brady, Cooper Kupp, Joe Burrow, and Jonathan Taylor. Let's start with who is probably going to win it. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Based off these odds, it seems a pretty high chance. He's leading the league in passer rating, has the best TD interception ratio. He's the sole reason why the Packers are in the number one seed with the bye week. And we've seen what happens when he doesn't play. No offense to Jordan Love. Jordan Love will be a great player, and I think either with Green Bay or somewhere else. He just has a lot of learning to do, but when he does play, the Packers don't do very well. So that right there shows the value in Aaron Rodgers and why he should be the back-to-back MVP. That's what people are probably saying or seeing. Aaron Rodgers is my favorite NFL player. I think he's the greatest thrower of the football that the world will ever see. However, I think someone else should win this. As much as I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, he just kind of rubs me the wrong way. But I'm not going to let my personal feelings be involved with this. But from a performance standpoint, I think he should be the winner of the NFL MVP award. It hurts to say that. But how old he has thrown as many TDs as his actual age. He's thrown 43 TDs. People say, well, what are the interceptions? He's thrown 12 interceptions. His passer rating is not as good as Aaron Rodgers. Why should he win it? Because Tom Brady's also another story. He's dealt with injuries and drama. That includes like Antonio Brown, which we'll talk a little bit about. And he essentially ignores it and finds a way to win. Antonio Brown literally stormed off the field against the Jets, and Tom Brady and the Buccaneers were down, and he led the team to a win. And just like Aaron Rodgers, he can make low draft pick players good receivers. His leadership style is actually someone I think is a little bit better than Aaron Rodgers in terms of what we see in the media. He's more direct. I think Jonathan Taylor should be in the conversation. He's leading the league in rushing TDs and rushing yards. People make the argument, well, that's because Derrick Henry's out. Maybe. But Jonathan Taylor stepped up, and when he's on fire, that's when the Colts win. So that just shows how much value that he has. And I mean, shout out to Cooper Kupp. He did amazing. But I just think those three players should have the edge over Cooper Kupp. Okay, let's transition over to basketball. I want to talk about the Chicago Bulls a little bit. Right now, the Chicago Bulls are first in the Eastern Conference standings. To put in perspective, that means they're ahead of the Nets, the Miami Heat, the Bucks, and the 49ers. I've been watching a few games when I have some free time, and of course the Bulls are not disappointing. I watched them play the last game I watched them play was the Wizards, and they won. And then they played the Mavericks on Sunday. They unfortunately lost, but it's just fun to watch these guys. I recall their rookie player Ayo. He got recognized at his alma mater at University of Illinois, and they hung his jersey in the Raptors. And you know who showed up there? DeMar DeRozan, the team leader at the moment. DeRozan's having an unbelievable season. He's proven the haters that it wasn't the bad choice to go to Chicago, and he's doing just like I mentioned with Tom Brady, doing things off the field. This is an example of DeRozan showing that he's a team player and a leader on and off the court. So those are things that I very appreciate with this Bulls team, is how efficient they are on offense, how dominant they are on defense. Just wait till Alex Caruso comes back. It's going to be back to what it was in the beginning, and just how much chemistry I see. Lonzo Ball has been a player that I think has the biggest role in the success, a true ball facilitator. That definitely plays a role in what's going on. Kind of back to my last discussion with the Bulls. What are my playoff predictions? I think they're going to make it to the first round, cruise through it. Second round, a little less confident, but I think they have a chance. But I don't think they're going to get to the NBA Finals this year, at least. I think this Bulls team is just learning how to deal with success. And there's going to be some trial and error, but I think this season is just going to be a preview of what next season could be. So I'm excited to see what they have in store. I just want to do a shout out to LeBron James. Some people think I'm a LeBron James hater. I'm actually a fan of him. I like what he does on the court sometimes, because I did make a video of him kind of being over dramatic with the flopping. That stuff I don't like, but I can't dismiss how well he's playing at the moment. Within the last 10 games, LeBron James has averaged 32.5 points per game. People on ESPN or the sports media saying LeBron James is the Lakers are on fire because LeBron James is playing center. It doesn't really matter where he plays. LeBron James is so gifted and so intelligent at the game of basketball. You can put him anywhere, and he will provide value for you. He has a lot of control over the game. And it's unfortunate that the Lakers are kind of a little underwhelming this season. I think they are below 500 at the moment. But it's looking pretty good for them. I think they're on a 4-game win streak. Russell Westbrook is kind of working on his turnovers a little bit. He's not turned over as much. He's not missing as many layups, I hope. But LeBron James is 37 years old, and he is dominating. He's not leading the league in points, but he's still dominating the league more ways than one at that age. It's crazy. I don't think there's a player in this 10-game stretch at that age has ever played that dominant. So will the Lakers go to the playoffs? I think there's a chance. I think they will get to the playoffs. I don't see them winning the NBA Finals, though. Let's kind of transition over to my last topic. I want to talk about The Bachelor a little bit. I've been watching the new season of The Bachelor. I was kind of underwhelmed by the last season of The Bachelorette with Michelle Yeoh. I think Michelle Yeoh is a great person, really nice. But no, it's just I think the entire cast just didn't really keep my attention. This season, it is Clayton, who is the Bachelor. He's an interesting character because he's kind of goofy. He's kind of more of the goofier guys. He kind of reminds me of Matt James a little bit, where he can't believe he's the Bachelor and doesn't really know how to react to certain situations. Maybe that's just part of what the producers are doing to make it seem less fake, because everyone knows the Bachelor is fake. If you ignore that, you tend to enjoy the show a little bit better. I'm in a batch bracket league with some of my coworkers, my friends. I'm not doing too good at the moment, but I could probably catch up. Some people that are kind of top contenders in this season, I would probably just say Teddy. She's a younger one, but I think they have a real good chemistry. Another would be Sarah, Susie, because they had that one-on-one date. Here's something that bothered me. They went on a private helicopter to land on a private yacht, and which is great. I think it's a really cool date, but I don't like how this show tries to make it seem like the Bachelor and Bachelorette, like life is what exactly they're doing on this show. For all I know, Clayton probably doesn't have a private yacht or helicopter. I just wish they didn't go over the top with some of these dates. But then again, if they weren't over the top, like they went to go get ice cream, no one will be watching that. So I understand why they do that. Two people I do not want to see on my television is Cassidy. She's lazy. She just wanted to talk to Hillary Duff. She didn't want to do the challenge that they were doing. So she's a no for me. Oh, and then one that I don't like at all would have to be Shanae, who's Cassidy's henchwoman. Excuse me, I had to text my girlfriend. She's kind of like Cassie's henchwoman. She's terrible. She has this feud with Elizabeth because Elizabeth apparently rubbed her the wrong way. But Elizabeth explained that it's ADHD and that she didn't mean to ignore her or rub her the wrong way due to the tendencies with her disorder. But Shanae doesn't want to believe it because she just doesn't like her. So she refuses to believe that this disorder is true, and she's just using it as a cover-up to be two-faced is what she said. But I think Shanae is just as terrible as anyone else in this show. I wouldn't be surprised if Cassidy goes home because I think there's going to be some drama feeling that she has a friends with benefit person waiting for her. So if Clayton's smart, he's going to send her home. Shanae, she's going to stay due to what I'm seeing in the previews, but she's not going to stay much longer either. Well, I'll try my best to watch the entire season. I'll give another update. Maybe I'll get a friend to join me in the conversation. Maybe I'll get Jessie to go back on if she wants to. But yeah, this so far this season's a little more interesting than the last season, and I hope it stays that way. Okay. I don't think I have any more topics to talk about. I think I want to wrap today's episode. My girlfriend needs some help, so I should probably cut it now. That way she doesn't have to wait too long because I know it's cold outside, and she probably has some food, and I like food, so I'm ready to eat the food, and I want to help her. So thanks again, everybody, for watching Season 4, Episode 1. I'm getting more comfortable doing this, and I feel like talking into this microphone and just talking to pretty much myself has gotten easier over the course of the year I've been doing this. I'm excited for Season 4. I already have a couple guests scheduled. I think you're all going to love them just as much as I love having them on it. So that's it for today's episode. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Every little bit counts. I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care.